chief. Comes to find out from New Mexico that their legislature can't fund private ventures, such as the chief. And everybody at the commission went, whoa, what's up? And Representative Garcia wasn't there to see it or hear it, but that was something that surprised everybody there. And so there is still a lot of work to do. There's no doubt about it. There's still a lot of work to be done. But you know, this is, it's still beneficial for Southern Colorado, and I still stand by that.
I would just point, and I think this is an important point to make. You know, we live in a digital age where people can get the facts for themselves. And my job tonight is to present my case, but I want you to go out and do the research. Because in your interview about a year ago, and you could just look at Pueblo Chieftain interviews, Mr. Peter Roper had one. I know you had a town hall that was covered, that was completely reviewed, and that's online, that you said you weren't for the project, that you were for a fuel tax. In the previous interview with Peter Roper, you said you're against the federal wind tax credit, but now you're saying sometimes we should have some tax credit. So I think it's important for the voters to understand a philosophy and to stick by it. You know, my job is to make sure that we do what's best for this community. And I wouldn't doubt that anyone should have some due diligence, but you can't just flip-flop whenever the issue's popular. You can't do that.
Just because I might have talked about fuel tax and so on and so forth, that absolutely does not mean that I was not supportive of the Southwest chief. And I'll stand by that. When I made my decision that I was behind the Southwest chief, I stood by that decision. I stand by it now, regardless of what the change of facts are. I have not, and I repeat, I have not flip-flopped.
Okay. Okay. We're down to our final question. Leroy, you'll handle it first. As both of you know, politics at the State House are often driven by party leadership, party politics. How do you balance that against the wishes of your constituents?
Well, I think people who know me, and there's a lot of people who know me in Southern Colorado, know that I do what's best for Southern Colorado first. I don't take marching orders from anyone other than them. Last year was the testimony for that when the gun legislation was proposed. And leadership said, this is what's important. And you know what? As a freshman legislator, I stood up and said, it goes against the values of my district. I will not. So I understand that my first priority is to represent my district. My first job is to work for you. And I serve at your will. I understand that this job is only a job as long as you allow me to do this job. That's why I'm so committed every single day to making myself accessible, being transparent, being professional, and doing the very best that I can, because I understand I work for you.
George?
Well, my opponent is absolutely correct. We work for you. You are our boss. You suggest to us, you have expectations of us. And you should be rewarded with the best work that we can do for your expectations, that's for sure. But I think it's very interesting to hear my opponent talk about marching orders from the caucus. Okay, now, I gotta say, I'm a freshman, only 1 year in the legislature. I never got any marching orders. I was always told from everyone in the Republican caucus, vote your district. Always vote your district, support your district. I got no marching orders from anyone. Nobody told me what to do. The caucus did not control the members. The members were the caucus, and the members answered to the people that elected them. A fundamental difference in philosophies.
Leroy?
Thank you. Well, I will point to the fact that every single bill that I have introduced in the last 2 years has been bipartisan. I have worked with Representative Tim Dorr, I have worked with Representative Navarro, I have worked with Representative Larry Crowder, I have even worked with Senator George Rivera on a bill this year. You know, I work for what's best in our community. And I think if my opponent didn't believe in this philosophy, he wouldn't have a 100% voting record on every piece of legislation I proposed this year.
George?
Well, once again, being a freshman legislator and kind of learning the ropes and kind of trying to figure out what was going on, out of all the bills that I passed, 50% of them were bipartisan as well. And those bills covered anything from public safety, government efficiency, health and human services, Second Amendment, business. They covered the gamut. And I wasn't afraid to work with anybody, anywhere within that chamber. And I worked well with them. As a matter of fact, the bill that I'm particularly proud of had to do with making terminally ill patients, making experimental drugs available to terminally ill patients. Folks that were on their last legs, folks that were in the twilight because of some illness, something that could strike any one of us. Talk about representing Colorado and Pueblo as well. Any one of us could be suspect or could end up with a diagnosis of a terrible illness. Well, this bill allows them to make use of those experimental drugs, to prolong their life and maybe even save their life. I'm particularly proud of that bill. And what I'm really proud of is when Senator Irene Aguilar, a Democrat, came to me and said, I want to co-prime that bill. I said, yes. Yes, without any reluctance at all. I'm proud of that fact.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're down now to the closing remarks by each candidate. I'd remind you that George did win the coin toss and he elected to conclude the event. So we will have closing remarks first from Leroy.
Thank you, Mr. Henson. As your state representative, I have a proven track record. I always look out for what's in the best interest of Pueblo County first. I will work in a collaborative and bipartisan fashion because I understand that no single person or party has all the answers. I have proven myself as an effective leader and one who can get the job done. And my record is that of accomplishments from the demolition of the Naval Reserve Building to a new CBI building for Pueblo West, protecting the state fair, investing in higher education, promoting programs such as 4-H and FFA. I understand that the needs our community faces, and I am working hard every day to address them. When you compare my opponent's legislative agenda, well, it's hard to see that at times he's for fuel taxes instead of supporting public transportation options like the Southwest Chief. He's against the federal tax credit, which has helped Vestas, right here in Pueblo, provide us over 800 jobs. Those are the types of jobs that I'm going to continue to fight for. I believe that with the right type of leadership, the legislature can help to cultivate good-paying jobs and stand up to Denver interests by creating opportunity here in Pueblo, protecting our water rights and our institutions like our state institutions like prisons and our Colorado Mental Health Institute. I believe that we need to cut taxes on small businesses to help them grow and find opportunities to support them. Pueblo's future depends on strong schools, and kids growing up in Pueblo today should have the same chance for success any student anywhere has. Pueblo is the home of the heroes, not just because our Medal of Honor recipients, but because Pueblo has a history of service. This community was built by many great hands from people who believed and wanted a great community. And that's exactly what we have. I would like to thank you for joining us. I would like to thank Mr. Rivera for the spirited discussion tonight. You have entrusted me with your support in the past by electing me. And I don't want to just ask for your support. I want to make sure that every single day I'm earning your support. I want to earn your vote. Please vote Leroy Garcia as your next state senator.
We'll now have closing remarks from George Rivera.
Thank you again for being here and listening to us debate these issues back and forth. And I believe that we were true to our word when we said there'd be distinct differences between my opponent and I. A distinct which you can kind of hang your hat on when you go into those when you send back those mail-in ballots. Let me do a little recap of myself once again. I was born and raised here in Pueblo. We're on the east side. I was 2100 block of East 8th Street. Not well off by any means, but you know, my mom saw the value of a private education. We didn't have a lot of money, but she sent 4 children to Catholic school, an alternative like I talked to you about school choice. And as a result of that, we ended up with a heck of an education. Well, getting out of school, young and stupid, I thought I wanted to be an auto mechanic, but quickly changed my mind when I was kind of introduced to law enforcement by Dave McCoy and Chief Silva, now Chief Silva, and retired. And they lit the fire in my mind about public service. So I went to work on the police department in 1971. Went through the ranks and retired, fortunately, as a deputy chief in 2005. And after that, once again, I got into public service. And the values, the reason I recap that is because I want to talk about values that we have, and I believe that we have in common. Hard work, responsibility, the value of family, the value of education, the value of religion, accountability. These are all values that we hold and we hold dear, and that's what made us great as a nation. But let me go to accountability. I believe that is key. In this election, accountability is key. Because I'm going to tell you what, it's time that those that have been in governance for the past 20, 30, 40 years, that who've controlled and priorities and direction this county's going. We've heard a lot about all the things that have gone on and all the bills that have been passed and so on. But when you really look at the totality of circumstances, we have still the highest poverty rate, the highest unemployment rate of any large county in Colorado. Why is that? I think we need to ask the people that have been in control. Hold them accountable for where we're at as a county and as a district. We have we have schools, again, that are the poorest in Colorado, some of the worst in Colorado, with 70%, again, rate of remedial classes going into college. Why is that? Why is that? Are we okay to do that and continue to do that? You know what? The definition of insanity, I'll give you the cliche, as you all know, is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. How long are we going to do this? How long are we going to allow our kids not to get the education they need and that they deserve? How long will it be before we finally start to wake up that there must be a different way? This is a different way, and I'm asking the voters, re-elect me, George Rivera, to go to the Senate, to take a different perspective, to take a different look. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our military. God bless these United States of America.